I don't know why anybody would watch my videos. I don't know why someone would watch this video. Like, why are you watching this? Like, what? What the heck are you doing with your day that you would watch this nonsense? Why, man? Why are you wasting your life? Go watch something better, man. I don't know why I honestly don't know why I have subscribers. Why would anyone subscribe to me? I really do think of myself as a lowlife, an unsuccessful loser, a failure. But besides that, I'm going to go ahead and express some of my thoughts. And maybe this has no. Anyway, whatever. I'm just going to go for it. So, there's different ways that people believe in God. There's different kinds of gods that people believe in. And why is it important? It's super important. It makes a difference in how you live your life and the way you see things, the actions that you take, and the quality of, again, your life. So there's a belief that God is the creator. God created the universe. God created all that we see. God created you. God created me. God created the animals, the plants, the natural universe. There is the belief that, and in that first belief that I mentioned, God is separate from his creations. Now, you can also believe that God is in his creations. I was raised to believe that God is omnipresent, and I'm honestly not sure what that means. Um, but I think it means that he could be anywhere he chooses. Now, if that is true, then would that mean that God is in everything? It almost sounds like it does, but I think that there's a difference that it's one way or the other. Either God is in everything or God can access everything. So there, right there is another significant distinction. What else do we have? We have the belief that God is everything. In other words, everything is essentially the body of God. Um, so I am, by being a member, a part of the body of God, I have the nature of God within me. Um, a plant has the nature of God within it. Not in the sense that it is a creation of God, or I am a creation of God, but that God has, God is that plant, or God is me, in the sense that I am a mechanism or an oper, how do I say it? I guess just mechanism of God. And then there's also the belief that, and from that belief, you draw such strange conclusions. Every belief about God, it to me, it's just so important. I don't know what else to say. Like, there's, to me, it's so important to know what the truth is. Whether there is a God, whether there is not a God, what God is about, what he's like, or she is like. That's another thing. Is God a he or is God a she? Is God. I was raised to believe that God had or has male and female qualities. Was God born, or is God unborn, uncreated, just there? God is in a sense, the beginning and the end. I mean, as we know time to exist, we go through experiences in our lives, and we change. Can God change? Has God changed? Is God loving? Does he enjoy his creations? Does he know everything? Can he see the future? Or is he on the journey with us? There's a lot more. Like, we are all gods would be another thing. Or we are God in a sense, or we are all one. I think all those are very similar. And that would mean that if God is perfect, which is another belief, which I think if people do believe in God, they typically believe that he is perfect. Except, of course, you can believe that he's not perfect. There are people that believe God is not someone that they'd like to know. That I find very hard to believe, because I think maybe it's because of my own specific upbringing, but I believe that God would have to be wonderful, just magnificent, wonderful. Yeah. But there have been times in my life where I've read the Bible and it said that God did this and God said that, and God encouraged killing and war and bloodshed and violence and sacrifice, even petty sacrifice like the sacrifice of Abraham's son. And that really, you know, if that's the kind of God that I had to believe in, actually I became atheist for a while, because people were saying, well, that's the Bible's version of God. That's the God that, if you believe in that God, then you believe in like this hypocritical, vengeful God. And I said, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the way I was taught about God. And so I do have to believe that, don't I? Even though I don't think I ever really did. It never really made sense to me that that could be God. Anyway, I don't know why you watched the video up until this point. As you can tell, I mean, I don't have any interest in putting any effort into my videos. I don't think I will. I often think about deleting my channel, and I don't think that I will have any success whatsoever. If you're watching this, you probably feel as depressed as I am. So, if, or, yeah. But I wish I knew what God was. I wish I knew. I wish he wasn't small. I wish he was big. When I say big, I mean that it could actually be exciting to get to know God. I wish that I think the last belief that I mentioned about God, I wish it's not that. And that is the belief that we are gods, or we are God experiencing itself. And in experiencing itself, the dynamic universe continues. I don't like that, because I want God to be perfect and magnificent and wonderful. And I endure suffering in my life, and I don't enjoy it. And I've tried to excuse the suffering and say that, well, when I've gone through my suffering, lots of times I feel good at the end. And that there's some truth in that, but that's if I get through it. But what is enduringly painful is the idea that suffering will lead to suffering, will lead to suffering. I want to know when this will end. And the notion that this was part of the matrix, this is part of the experience to endure this suffering, to learn a lesson, in order to have the experience, that there might be a kind of vortex or black hole type, I don't know how to say it, but like a cyclical operation where you experience something and you go through it and then you reach the end and it's wonderful. And then you return and do it all over again. I mean, that is so upsetting, so horribly upsetting to my very core that that could be it. And that's what I feel like when I consider that perhaps God is me or is us experiencing itself. I don't want that. I really don't want that. I I haven't figured it out, and I wish I knew. I really did. I know what I want it to be, and but I don't believe that. I was just thinking about this today. Like, I have experienced enough in my life to say that the things that I want to happen in my life miraculously come about. And that is so surprising to think that, to see the things you desire to have manifested. It suggests that things do in fact happen for a reason. Now, if that is true, which to me in my experience it is true, if I can have something by virtue of wanting it, then that, ergo, I don't use that word ergo. That feels powerful to use that word for like the first time or the second time ever. Ergo, I could I could make things happen. I could change the dynamic. In other words, let's say I got good enough with the power of manifesting what I wanted to have happen. That would only prove further and more strongly the that I do in fact have such an ability, that I want something, I desire it with such an intensity that at some point it comes, it appears before me. I activate whatever process is required to have it manifested in my life. I have seen this happen time and again, and I'm not going to recall any particular instances, but for me it has been true. But the frightening thing for me is that I don't think you can do that with truth. Ostensibly, truth itself cannot be subject to change. Truth would have to be truth. Truth, as far as I know it, I mean, oh, fuck. It's hard to even. It's hard. I don't know. All I can say is that in my own desire to know God, I'm afraid that I create God. And that is another thing that I don't want. In other words, if I can desire to have something, and this is probably freaky for a lot of people, but that's where my mind goes. If I can desire to have something and I can manifest it in my life, then why not have a desire for a loving creator and manifest that? Haven't people asked whether we ourselves have created God? Wasn't there that famous person that said, if God did not exist, we would have to invent him or something to that extent. I don't like that either. All I can say is what I don't like. I wish God loved me and was big and was powerful and was amazing and all loving and perfect and magnificent. And I wish that he had a plan for me to never have suffering, to enjoy my life, to enjoy the gift of life. I wish that he had a plan to explain everything to me. And that's what I wish to be the truth.